Hello and welcome to another edition of Cityline. I'm Chris Surface filling in for the incomparable Amanda Westbrook. It is such a joy to be here today sharing with you some of the great things that are happening in our wonderful community. Today we will be starting with the Tacoma Light Trail, which only happens once a year, and believe me, it's worth the wait. Joining me is Rosemary Panacanti. You are the director of this fabulous event. Welcome to Cityline.
Thanks, Chris. It's really good to be here.
Also joining us is Michelle Matlock, the producer of the Tacoma Light Trail and also the director of Circle Up Productions. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello, Chris. Thanks for having me.
And rounding out this wonderful trio is James Allen Tucker. You are an artist whose work is featured on the Tacoma Light Trail, and you also are the director of the Tacoma Art Walk. Welcome.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Rosemary, let's get right into it. This is the second year of the Tacoma Light Trail. What exactly is the trail, and what is different this year?
So the Tacoma Light Trail is a winter light art festival. There are light art festivals all over the world, including Seattle and Portland and bigger places like that. And now there's one in Tacoma. It started last year and it runs for 2 weeks. And what it essentially is a ton of light art exhibits in different buildings and spaces around downtown. And it's viewable every night for those 2 weeks, which start this Friday. And people can find their way around the light art and explore their city and see lots of really, really cool things. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how it works later on. But that's the essence of it, is a light art festival. However, this year it is different because this year we can gather safely in person, outside at least. And so this year, unlike last year, we have live events. And I'm going to let Michelle tell you a little bit more about that. But two parts of it: the light art displays all around town every night, and then the live events on weekends.
Wonderful, Michelle. That kicks it right over to you. It starts on New Year's Eve. What a great night to start. What can we expect that night in downtown Tacoma?
So actually, because of the weather, we made a decision to cancel the New Year's Eve and January 1st live performances, because obviously if you look out your window, we're like iced up and snowed up out there. So we just wanted to keep it safe and made the decision to cancel it. But instead, we're moving it, the opening, to the following weekend, which is January 7th and 8th. That's Friday and Saturday of the following week. And the Trail of Light display is still going to be up this Friday, but the parade and the performances will start next week on the 7th. And we're going to we just have a phenomenal lineup all of the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays. And starting next week, we'll have some amazing circus. We'll have our poet laureate, Lydia K. Valentine. We'll have, and throughout the 2 weeks, we'll have Mirror Gloss, Asian Pacific Cultural Center will come and dance. We'll have Tupac coming and doing some dance. We'll have Be Light. We'll have the Revels. We'll have some youth groups, including the Poets from Right 253. So, and much, much more. So both of the weekends are going to be filled with amazing local talent, and we are so excited about it.
That is absolutely wonderful. Michelle, where are all these events going to take place, the live events, when they happen?
So the live events will take place in Tolleson Plaza, which is right downtown on Pacific Avenue, right across the street from Tacoma Art Museum. It's a little red square, and it's going to be full with fire pits and beautiful lights and a stage and sound and a labyrinth. It's going to be lively.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to stop for a second and say, tell me more about this labyrinth. That just made me perk up about that.
Well, I am curious about the labyrinth too. I think Rosemary has more information on that labyrinth. I'm excited for that too. She's told me about it, but she knows more information about it than I do.
Yeah, the labyrinth is super cool. That comes from Yoga Wild, which is a yoga, sort of like a nomadic yoga studio that teach in lots of different places, including outside. And before you think you can't do yoga outside in the snow, you're right. You probably shouldn't do too much of that. But they're setting up a candle labyrinth, and a labyrinth is not a maze. Like a maze has like dead ends and it's kind of frustrating sometimes. A labyrinth is like a little walking spiral that you go around and then you go in and then you just keep going and then you go out again. It's kind of like meditative walking, but on the same like patch of land. And they're going to set that up on the upper level of the plaza using candles, electric candles, obviously. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to add that to my list of things to do when we're going around the light trail. Now, the central part of the light trail is still a trail of light art installations around downtown like last year. How can people find them and find out about the art that is being displayed?
Yeah, great question, because there are a couple of different ways to find out about it. So there are over 45 different light art installations, and they can look really different. So in a moment, James is going to tell you about his, which is about video projection, but sometimes it's just pure light projection. Sometimes it's sculpture that's illuminated, or it's a display in a window of lights. Sometimes it's actually a sculpture made out of light. So expect anything. And the way you find all these displays, a couple of different ways. First of all, if you go to our website, tacomalighttrail.org, you can have a look at the map. There's an interactive map on there. If you don't like interactive maps, you can download a printable map or pick up a printable map at any of the library branches once they reopen. And that's got all the spots marked on it for you to go find. Then there's, at each individual spot, there's going to be a poster with a QR code. And that's pretty important if you're the kind of person that likes to scan QR codes on your phone, because that'll take you to a web page on our site that'll tell you all about the art, all about the artist, and help you access the sound trail. So at each spot, there is music or poetry recording that's paired with the art, which you can play and listen to amazing Tacoma artists while you look at the artwork. And I should say this whole thing is free, by the way. It's all free.
And that's absolutely wonderful. Now, we were speaking of artists just a moment ago. James, welcome. And you were an artist last year on the trail, and you're an artist this year as well. Tell us about what you're creating and where your installations will be.
I am doing a animated projection at the Grand Cinema. They've been really awesome. That's such an awesome place to visit, with or without the light trail. But they've been really, really great about accommodating for space. So I wanted to create something. It's difficult to, when you look at like artwork in general in Tacoma, one of the things that's really lacking is any sort of digital presentation. It's sort of so to have the ability to work with digital artwork or any sort of illuminated artwork is an amazing opportunity. So that's all rosemary there, but it just really opens a door to a realm of artwork that is, in my personal opinion, is incredibly underrated, undervalued. When we think of digital art, most people think of something you draw on your screen or something, or you draw on Photoshop, and that's what usually that's the extent of it. But without getting too far into this, but if you love, everybody seems to love like Marvel movies. That takes hundreds and hundreds of digital artists to create that. And so when you're viewing a movie like that, that is pure artistry. Those are artists coming together using a digital platform to present a new form of artwork. And so this is an example of that. And I'm just pretty proud to be part of something like that, especially with the grant. So the piece I'm creating is called the Cyber Waterfall. And so the concept is to have something mesmerizing that people could just watch and just sort of let themselves dive into the presentation, and hopefully they can enjoy it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. As both of you have been talking, Michelle, you as well, this is so much different than what people may think of as holiday lights. It goes well beyond that term. Can you give us a few bullet points of just some of the things that make it so much different and so much more enjoyable than just a holiday light show?
Well, I think just just rolling off of what James was saying, the pure artistry of it. It's not just hanging, lights with different colors. It's actually the artists that are all coming together to make it happen in all the different installations. And so I think that just involving all of the individual artists that have their individual takes in the way that they're displaying their arts. And then for me, like this year, having also performing artists that use light also in their performing, like we'll have Layla Vision doing some amazing things with big apparatuses and lights. And so I love that performing arts is also included in this year. I know it was included last year too, but like just sort of in a bigger way. So I just think it's the all the individual artists that are coming together from all genres to spread light and love. It's just different than just driving through a normal maybe holiday light, festival.
I love the term of spreading light and love. It fits so well for what we need in our community right now. Now, spreading light and love, people can get involved interactively on the light trail. We've talked a little bit about the QR codes, things like that. But also, what can people do when they come and see the light show? Is there anything fun they can do to help celebrate? Michelle or Rosemary, do you have any thoughts, or James, on that?
You can get involved. We're doing it on the 7th, a little mini parade that'll happen, go towards the Tolleson Plaza on Pacific Avenue. And where you can wear lighted costumes. We're going to have lighted, I think there's going to be bicycles. We're going to have the famous dragon, fire-breathing dragon that's going to be leading that parade. But come join, get creative. Put lights on your jackets, put lights on your shoes. I think it's a fun way to, kick off the whole festival. And then there's tons of community art opportunities that people can get involved with. Just come down and check it out, get involved, see what is out, what's happening.
And so, to add to that, there are lots and lots of ways, like both at the events and on the trail itself, that you can also get interactive. I've mentioned the candle labyrinth. There's going to be community art making, where you can make your own little starburst, translucent starburst, and hang it on a community art mural, so to speak. There's going to be shadow play with a old style overhead projector. And we're going to have a projection mapping artist, and that is super fun because they throw the light on the wall, and then you can kind of like dance in it, and that's kind of fun. Around the trail, there are quite a few interactive exhibits. One is at the Pantages, and I won't give any secrets away, but because you guys have to go see it. But let's just say that it's a rather unusual scene. Which you might expect to see in a theatre. So it's great that it's in a theatre. And Creative Colloquy, a local writing collective, is putting out a call to everybody for you to write a story or a poem about that scene. What's the backstory? Why is it there? Who are these people in there? Person. And then you can submit it, and they're making a thing about that. And the other interactive thing to do on the trail is to submit a poem about New Year, 3-line poem, to Write 253, and they'll actually print it up and hang it on a tag as part of their lit window display. So you can be a part of the light trail too with what you do, as well as literally bringing the light with what you wear. It's just a way of bringing light to dark times.
I think we are going to have a lot of excited people in our community who are going to take advantage of this. James, I want to ask you a question. Since you are one of the artists on the trail, what makes light art so magical and special?
Ooh, wow, that's a pretty serious question. Without getting too scientific and trying to keep it on the artistic aspect of things, I mean, light is how we see everything. There are different there's a difference between RGB and CMYK. CMYK is printed work, where or even paint. Everything is in a certain color gamut. But RGB, which is light, like emitted light, like you see this light up here, there's lights behind you. We're literally talking via a screen that projects RGB light. And so there is an element in emission, the type of light that is projected, and it's very, very different. It's impossible to recreate in like painting or in a print. You just can't get you've never looked at a piece of paper and had to squint because it was so bright. It doesn't really work that way. And so, but a projected light may make you squint, or maybe you have to look at it differently. So the very nature of using light as an art form changes how the viewer is going to be affected. So I hope that answers the question, at least a little bit of the question. It really amplifies and alters the type of art form you can present. It's much different.
I think that does a perfect job of answering it. Rosemary, a festival like this takes a lot of people to create. Anyone that you'd like to call out in particular?
Yeah, it takes so many people to create it. This is just like the ultimate Tacoma collaboration. And obviously, I want to give a big shout out to our funders and sponsors, without which none of it would be possible. Tacoma Creates and City of Tacoma, the Tacoma Arts Commission, Greater Tacoma Community Foundation, Tacoma Public Utilities, Multicare, Tacoma Sunrise Rotary, Alma Mater. It just goes on and on. Plus lots of terrific little community sponsors as well. And then obviously huge amounts of work from our team, our amazing stable of artists, and then, you know, nearly 50 business owners and space owners downtown who are even going in during the snow to open up their spaces to let us come in and install. So major shout out to the whole Tacoma community. And just kind of riffing off what James was saying about what makes light art so special, I think for me, light is so related metaphorically to so many things. Like it's hope. We wake up in the morning and it's daylight, right? And we can all appreciate at this time of year how important that is to get some light. It represents understanding. You know, I see the light. You know, it represents truth and justice and joy, just pure joy. And that's kind of what the essence of the light trail is to bring all those things to a very dark time of year, physically and emotionally and, you know, politically and all the other things. And so, you know, that's kind of what the light trail is all about. And I just give my heart and thanks out to the hundreds and hundreds of people who are literally working to bring that joy to Tacoma.
Wonderful. And just a reminder that the Tacoma Light Trail runs from December 31st through January 16th, with the main events happening the 7th and 8th. For more information, visit tacomalighttrail.org. Rosemary, Michelle, and James, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's been really great to be on here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.